be grateful for those things that you went through, because it's hard to have a spring without a winter. You know what I mean? You can't tear January off the calendar and avoid it. But the thing is, the problem that a lot of people have is they go through one of those winters and they just stay in winter. They never really try to get better. They never try to, they're never really thankful for what they do have.
Stay connected to gratitude. Hit the follow button right now and join thousands of listeners tuning in each week. We're the Gratitude Seekers. Come join us. Hi, Gratitude Seeker. Welcome to a new episode of the Gratitude Podcast. Today with me, I have a really intelligent person, a person that has had some experiences that are really, that I can identify with and that I'm going through as well. And he got to the next level. His name is Jason Morris. He works in the real estate domain and is pretty good at it. He's also a leader in the field. He has a really big group of people that he's sharing his wisdom with. And more about him you will learn in the few minutes that we will have together. And also right now, if Jason, if you want to say a few more words about yourself and what you're doing, that would be great.
Yeah, thanks, man. My name's Jason Morris. I'm in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I sell real estate and work for a company called eXp Realty. But I have a Facebook group called Real Estate Agents that really work, where basically I train agents all over the country, train and coach agents all over the country. I've got 2 best-selling books on Amazon. I've got a group coaching program that's just growing by like 2 or 3 people a day. It's quite amazing, and man, I have a lot to be grateful for.
That's amazing. I know that you're also a new parent right now, right?
I am. That's one of the things I was telling you about. We just had a baby named Parker Claire, and she is a month old today. Wow. And so I'm a first-time parent too. And one of the things I've really been grateful for is that I didn't have any kids. And now that I have one, I kind of look back and go, man, I wish I would have had one sooner. But to be honest with you, if I would have had one at 26 instead of 36, at 26, you know what? I worked 7 days a week. I tried to work 24 hours a day if I could possibly do it. I was concerned about money, and I had a certain idea of what success was at that time, that at 26, I don't think I could have enjoyed having a baby like I have today. I just had too many other things I was worried about and concerned about, and I thought that were important, that, in the scheme of things, are not really that important,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really interesting, because it has been my experience as well. Like I'm not that old right now, but when I was even younger, it was the same for me. Like if I could work 24 hours a day, that would have been great. And the thing was in that period that I wasn't enjoying the process. I wasn't enjoying the journey, and I was always working hard to get to the next step, to reach the next goal. And even though it was interesting, I wasn't enjoying it too much, and I wasn't grateful. So yeah.
One of the things about that is when you're in that position yourself, and this is what I learned, like looking back, because I believe sometimes we go through those struggles in life, right? And in the middle of it, you go, really, this is horrible. But then looking back over, like I look back over my life the last like 5 years, 7 years, I had a big real estate team. I was selling a lot of real estate. I was then I went through a divorce, and I disbanded my team, and I went from what I thought making a lot of money to really not making much money. And And looking back through that stuff, I was had a real estate team that was winning awards. I was in the top
Wow.
50 in North America and all this exciting stuff. But then looking back at it, I thought that I was really doing something special, but I didn't realize until I was getting divorced that I really wasn't making that much money. And I really wasn't, for the amount of time I was working, I really wasn't making near as much as other people thought I was making. I had a lot of numbers to put up on the board, but, to be honest with you, in business, the numbers you're putting up on the board aren't really that important. It's a lot of times it's the profit and the money that you're taking home at the end. And when it come down to it, I really wasn't making that much money. And we were talking about things you're grateful for. That is one of the, in life we all have, this. I don't know if you've ever heard this concept. Jim Rohn talks about it a lot. The seasons of life. Winter always follows fall. But the good thing about winter is winter is going to make you stronger. It's going to make you smarter. It's just going to make you better all the way around. And going through those negative things, going through that winter, right, makes me. I look back at it, and and it made me change my business. Now my business is easy. I have very low overhead. I changed a lot of the systems that I had, and it enabled me like taking note of those things enabled me to be able to have my group real estate agents that really work and be able to coach other agents because I've been through that. A lot of the stuff that they're doing that I know is not going to be profitable for them and I know is not going to work for them. The reason I know it is because I've done it, and I've been through that. It really took that, those life-changing negatives. It took going through that winter for me to have a lot of the positives that I have in life today, and that's one of the things. My girlfriend Laura, if I'd never been through that winter and went divorced, I'd never have met her. I never would have had the baby Parker that we just had 30 days ago. I probably would have never started my group. I probably would have never wrote my 2 books. But going through, and we all have those winters, and we need to learn how to. It sucks in the moment, but we all need to learn how to look back on that and be grateful for those things that you went through because it's hard to have a spring without a winter. You know what I mean? You can't tear January off the calendar and avoid it. But the thing is, the problem that a lot of people have is they go through one of those winters and they just stay in winter. They never really try to get better. They never try to. They're never really thankful for what they do have. We could, and that's something that I think is really important when you're at that low point. I mean, is to take inventory of those things that you have, and the things that you are truly grateful for. I read a lot and I listen to a lot of different motivational speakers, and one of the exercises I believe that we don't take advantage of enough when we're in that moment, and sometimes when we're just having a bad day, you know what I mean? Sometimes the nights are a little bit longer, and but one of the things that we don't do, and Jack Canfield talks about doing, is making a gratitude list. Have you ever done that?
Yeah, of course.
And you just sit there. I guess that was a dumb question. You got the gratitude podcast, but going through and making note of those things that you're grateful for, and looking around, and I mean it's really small. Man, I'm grateful for the days it's really sunny and nice outside. But I tell you, I'm grateful for the rainy days too, because those days are a little bit slower for me. I can hang out in the office and work on things I want to work on, versus some my crazy days,
Yeah, totally. And what came to mind when you were saying about winter and summer and spring, the thing is that sometimes we're so caught up in winter that even though it's spring outside, we can't see it because we are so caught up in the past, in the winter, in the time that when it was hard, when things didn't go too well. And I think this is a really great analogy that you used.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's agents that I meet that especially some of the older agents have. I mean, they went through the hard time, which the hard time for us in the industry was 2008, 2009, 2010. I mean, in the United States here, the real estate market fell apart and the world basically crashed down, you know. In my market, you couldn't keep up with real estate prices. You know, you'd list a house for $150,000 a day, and it would be the cheapest one in the neighborhood. And 30 days from now, you're calling the seller back and going, "Hey, Mr. Seller, I'm sorry. Your next door neighbor's house got listed for 110. It's a foreclosure. Even if we get an offer for 150, it's not going to appraise. I'm sorry. What do you want to do?" And there's a lot of agents that, you know, man, even though that was 2 or 3 years, and to be honest with you, looking back, that was my favorite times in the real estate business. We had less agents. The agents that you dealt with were more experienced. The business was just completely different then than it is today. Today we have a lot of new agents coming back into the business, which I'm happy that's happened. I'm happy for their careers and all that stuff. But at the same time, you know, it gets frustrating when you have, you know, that first transaction. You're the agent on the other side of that first transaction, and you have to help them fill in the blanks on the contract. You know, that but there's a lot of agents that, man, they had a rough time in 2008, 2009, and they're still living it in 2017. They can't let go of, you know, maybe their house got foreclosed on. Maybe they had one of the craziest stories I think that I remember from that time period was I was sitting in the car in a bank parking lot with this guy I was friends with at the time, and we see a tow truck pull up, and it had a black Porsche on the back of it. And the guy goes, "Man, I got a Porsche just like that." I was like, "No kidding." And I'd never seen it. I'd never been to the guy's house. We were work friends, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, "No kidding." I said, "Man, that's a nice looking car." He gets out, he goes and talks to the tow truck driver, and the guy's like, "Yeah, we just repoed the car." And he tells him all this stuff. And the guy's like, "Yeah, I got one just like that." Like 3 or 4 hours later, he calls me and tells me that was his car on the back of that truck.
Oh my God.
And I was like, "Oh man." And, you know, but you've seen a lot of things like that. And a lot of those agents and real estate agents, they're still living in that downturn, even though I think we're headed into one of the biggest real estate booms that we're ever going to see, you know? I think that we're heading into a market that's going to be fantastic for at least several years. But a lot of agents can't see that because they're still living in the past and they're still holding on to only God knows what, you know, but some of those negative things that have happened to them.
This episode is brought to you by Glorify, the #1 Christian daily devotional app. Everything around us changes. God doesn't. That's why I love Glorify's 21-day challenge. It helps me build a simple habit of meeting with God every day. No pressure, just consistency. With Glorify, you can start your morning by reading the Bible passage of the day, diving into Glorify's daily devotional, and wrapping up with an immersive experience called Daily Walk with God. And if you need to take a few minutes to yourself in the middle of a busy day, try one of Glorify's guided meditations, or listen to their curated worship playlists for some quiet reflection. To end the day, enjoy Glorify's sleep meditations to help you wind down and put your mind and heart at ease. Whether you're a committed Christian or simply curious about faith, Glorify has something for you. Join over 20 million people who have downloaded the Glorify app and deepened their relationship with God. Listeners to the show can get full access to Glorify for just $29.99 for the entire year. That's Glorify's lowest price ever when you download the Glorify app now at glorify-app.com/redcircle. Feel closer to God this year with Glorify. Get full access all year for just $29.99 at glorify-app.com/redcircle. That's glorify-app.com/redcircle.
If you have a headache or feel tired constantly, clean air can be the solution. And in theory, if you want more clean air, you just open the windows, right? Well, not quite. Pollution in general and noise pollution in particular make it a much less desirable option for most of us. But here comes Air Doctor. Air Doctor helps us and our family enjoy cleaner air with fewer odors and better sleep. It uses a 3-stage filtration system that captures particles about 100 times smaller than what most air purifiers can handle. Stuff you definitely don't want floating around your home. We're talking dust, pollen, mold spores, pet dander, wildfire smoke, even bacteria, viruses, odors, ozone, and VOCs. All the invisible things you'd rather not be breathing in every day. And here's the best part, it's whisper quiet. You don't get that constant loud fan noise that so many air purifiers have, so you can sleep or work peacefully. Air Doctor also has an auto mode, which means it's constantly adjusting to keep air clean 24/7. You don't have to think about it. And when it's time to change the filter, it reminds you, so there's no guesswork. 98% of Air Doctor customers say their home's air feels cleaner, safer, and healthier. It's no surprise Air Doctor won Newsweek's Reader's Choice Award for Best Air Purifier. Head to airdoctor.com and use promo code GRATITUDE to get up to $300 off today. Air Doctor comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee, plus a 3-year warranty. An $84 value free. Get this exclusive podcast-only offer now at airdoctor.com. That's airdoctorpro.com using promo code GRATITUDE.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that we do this in life in general. Like we when we have a period that's not very good for us, we tend to think that it's going to last forever and that it's not going to get any better any soon. And even if the situations outside are better, we can't see them because we can't appreciate them. But I'm really curious, what's your definition of gratitude? What does gratitude mean for you, Jason?
I think gratitude is the things that that you're thankful for in life. The things that, and I mean, they can be little. I mean, I'm thankful for being, first time dad. That's kind of my big thing right now. But there's little things like I'm grateful that, I have both parents that are still living, so they're first time grandparents. So I mean, I'm really really thankful that I was able to. I didn't know how excited they would be to have a grandchild, and that's one of the things I'm really thankful for. Like my mom is just, I mean, man, she's over the moon. She, I expect her to move. They live about an hour and a half away, but I expect them to move here like any day, I have my grandma is still living and she's a great grandparent. I'm really thankful about that she's here and she got to see Parker and experience, us having a baby. And I'm really, really thankful about that. And Laura, her grandma, she's got a grandma and granddad that's still living and they come to visit. They're in good enough health. They get around and stuff like that. But I think it's the things that you're thankful for, the things that you can be thankful for. And sometimes when you're going through that winter in life and you're going through that bad day and that hard time and all that stuff, sometimes you have to really think hard, when you're eating ramen noodles, out of the can, out of the little cup, and because you had to scrape change out of your car, your car floorboard. It's kind of hard to look at things and be really grateful, but the sun's shining, for most of us, we got a place to live. We got food to eat. We've got, a lot to be thankful for,
Yeah, but I'm really curious. What do you do when it's hard to be grateful? Like when things are going the other way?
Man, I've been there. I've had those times where things weren't really great for me, and it's difficult. I like to listen to motivational people, and I try to, like, when I'm having a bad day, listen to something that's like. I like a lot of the older guys like Zig Ziglar and Jim Rohn, and I'm a big Tony Robbins fan.
Mm-hmm.
But when things aren't going so well, sometimes you have to look back. You have to look back at your goals. You have to do that gratitude list exercise, and and you just kind of have to work through. And Jim Rohn has a quote: "Don't wish things were better, wish you were better." I believe is how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something in the real estate business when we've had those bad times. Sometimes you have to look at what your game plan is and what your business plan is, and sometimes you have to adjust, and that's one of the things that that I've been really good at adjusting as I've needed to, but you just have to be thankful for what you have.
Yeah, totally. And by the way, you mentioned the quote. Do you have a favorite quote on gratitude?
I've got one. I've actually got a bunch of them, but I got two here from Tony Robbins that I made some notes about. Without gratitude and appreciation for what you already have, you'll never know fulfillment. And then when you're grateful, fear disappears and abundance appears. And
Wonderful.
I really believe that when you are grateful for the things you have in life and you put that positive energy out there and you give, right? You give, you're going to receive back. You might not receive like today, but one of the things when I was building real estate agents that really work, I was doing a lot of YouTube videos and I had people telling me, oh, you need to charge for the stuff you're doing. You need to charge for the stuff you're doing. But for me, one of the things I was getting was I was trying to do a video a day, which is a grueling pace. It's to work it in with all your work schedule and all that stuff. It's tough to do it. It's tough to do a 30-minute video a day, right?
Wow.
And I was trying to do that. I was trying to keep up with that pace. And I was like getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning, doing it at 6 o'clock in the morning. That way I could post it on YouTube because YouTube had not given me the little scheduling feature. But either way, man, it's tough. And it was tough some Saturdays I would record like 3 or 4,
Yeah.
But what I was seeing was the more content I was putting out there, the more motivated I was to keep going in the real estate business. Because when I first started Real Estate Agents That Really Work, I was participating in a lot of Facebook groups. I'd been on some podcasts, and I really thought it was kind of cool, and it was kind of keeping me motivated, right? Because I was really burnt out on the real estate industry, After 10, 12 years in the business, you get to where you're going, oh man, I got to deal with the same, stupid people with the same stupid, stupid requests and the same stupid things. And, sometimes it's tough to go through the process again.
Yeah.
The hardest thing about having like an amazing year in the real estate business is going and wanting to do it again next year. That's the hardest thing. But I was really burnt out on the business. And when I started really participating in that, helping new agents, then I started getting that little bit of feedback from them where like, hey man, I done what you said. I went out and listed a house, or I done what you said. And, this happened. What I was getting in return was it was keeping me motivated. It was keeping me going, basically. And then when I started, I hit a certain point where not only was I getting that feedback back from me, that I was really helping people and it was really working for them, I started getting referrals from all over the country, right? So in referrals, these are like, they are literally lay down transactions. They're people that are more than likely going to work with you because you guys have a friend or family member or somebody in common, And I mean, they're literally just show up and sign paperwork typically. So I started getting referrals from agents, and which was really cool. And then, and all that stuff's grown, and it's grown into books and coaching and a lot of stuff. The coaching actually happened because I was steady putting content out there in the world. And then I started just attracting people that were calling me going, hey, Jason, will you coach me? Will you do this? Will you do that? And I work for EXP, which is a company that has some incentives for going out and recruiting agents and recruiting a team. So one of the things that started happening was I wasn't going out there and having to I'd hear about agents in my company, working to recruit people. For me, it's the other way around. I've given so much, and there's so much out there in the world that's, Jason Morris has given for free, and I continue to do that. Agents just keep coming to me. So my recruiting is, I'm truly, it's truly a testament of the secret. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what you put out there in the universe is going to come back to you. It's there's the whole thing, reaping and sowing, or sowing and reaping.
Yeah.
The reap you have to sow, and basically I've just put out massive amounts of content until for free, and it's quality stuff. It's stuff like other people were charging money for. you could technically, you go through my YouTube videos and build your career around the free information that I've been giving away.
Amazing.
And it's
Amazing.
yeah, it's one of the really cool things I feel like I've done, you know.
Yeah, that's really cool. Like the fact that you got to create this content helped you appreciate what you already know, helped you get the word out there. Yeah, I think this is really cool.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this, man. You know, when you start going and you start really focusing on your field that you're in, right? You start creating content like that and getting a little bit of feedback. One of the crazy things is you realize how much you do know. You know, like some of the stuff, like I've realized over the last couple of years doing this, is that my knowledge of the industry was vast. It was really significant, you know, where before I started doing that, I mean, I was just another agent. I'd done a lot of business, but I didn't really feel like I didn't really feel like an authority, you know, in the industry. You realize how vast your knowledge is and how such a minimum level that people are, where their knowledge is, you know, it's on a very minimum level.
Yeah, I think this is great for our listeners also. You might not appreciate what you already know because you don't you're not teaching it, you're not giving it forward to other people, and you might be actually surprised that by sharing it with people you get to appreciate more what you already know. And this is a great tip that we can use.
If you have a headache or feel tired constantly, clean air can be the solution. And in theory, if you want more clean air, you just open the windows, right? Well, not quite. Pollution in general and noise pollution in particular make it a much less desirable option for most of us. But here comes Air Doctor. Air Doctor helps us and our family enjoy cleaner air with fewer odors and better sleep. It uses a 3-stage filtration system that captures particles about 100 times smaller than what most air purifiers can handle. Stuff you definitely don't want floating around your home. We're talking dust, pollen, mold spores, pet dander, wildfire smoke, even bacteria, viruses, odors, ozone, and VOCs, all the invisible things you'd rather not be breathing in every day. And here's the best part. It's whisper quiet. You don't get that constant loud fan noise that so many air purifiers have, so you can sleep or work peacefully. Air Doctor also has an auto mode, which means it's constantly adjusting to keep air clean 24/7. You don't have to think about it. And when it's time to change the filter, it reminds you, so there's no guesswork. 98% of Air Doctor customers say their home's air feels cleaner, safer, and healthier. It's no surprise Air Doctor won Newsweek's Reader's Choice Award for Best Air Purifier. Head to airdoctor.com and use promo code GRATITUDE to get up to $300 off today. Air Doctor comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee, plus a 3-year warranty. An $84 value free. Get this exclusive podcast-only offer now at airdoctor.com. That's airdoctorpro.com using promo code GRATITUDE.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, even writing books. I'll tell you this: are you an author? Have you wrote anything?
Nope.
I'm gonna tell you this. I think this is really cool. I think that everybody that's an entrepreneur should that wants to. You got to have a desire to, because it's hard, man.
Sure.
What's even harder than writing a book is reading your book as an audio book, right? If you want to get really sick of the stuff you talk about, read your own book out loud. Wow. And it's exhausting, right? On top of it. But one of the really cool things about writing a book is you're not going to make a lot of money off the book. Actually, my 2 books, the Kindle versions, are 99 cents on Amazon, which I think when everything's said and done, I think I make like 30 cents a copy, right? Mm-hmm. So you got to sell a lot of books to make money at 30 cents a copy. But the thing that you do get from putting your ideas and stuff in that medium is, man, you get I've got recognition from that that's unbelievable. You know, the coolest thing that I've had happen was a guy bought a hard copy, and this was right after it come out. He bought a hard copy, and he takes a picture of it. He ends up tagging me in it, and you can see where he's got like the little sticky notes and stuff hanging out of the book. And he's got like 3 or 4 pictures, and he's made notes, and he's like talking about how excited he was and stuff. And I mean,
so cool.
I sell like 30, 40 books a day, which,
wow,
you know, in my little niche, just on Amazon, that's a lot of books, or I feel like it is. But the impact those books have on people and their lives, you know, a lot of my stuff, I focus on low cost and no cost lead systems for agents, because a lot of the training out there for agents is really, really expensive, you know? So, so I try to focus on things that, you know, real sales skills that they can go out and start making money with today. And, but the opportunities you get from selling that book for 99 cents or giving that book away for the 5 free days, you know, Amazon allows you to give it away, are so tremendous. You know, when you put it out there, the things that I've got back, I mean, I've got asked to speak, you know, all over the country. I've got asked to do all kind of stuff. I've got asked to be on podcasts. I've got a lot of feedback from people that I thought were, you know, superstars in the industry that, you know, somehow or another they found my book and actually went and bought it without me saying, "Hey man, go buy my book."
That's awesome.
You get a lot of the opportunities you get are really, really cool, man. And it's really, really just a great experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure. And I know that it takes a lot of work to put it together, but it's something that you do for the long term. And it's something, like we said, it's something that helps you with appreciating what you already know. But what I also wanted to ask you is, how did you actually get to understand gratitude on a personal level, not just the word gratitude, but actually feeling it and experiencing it?
You know, I think the thing that that really probably affected me the most is, like, as an adult, made me really appreciate a lot of things was my granddad passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And I grew up with my granddad, and I was really close to him. I spent a lot of time with him, and he was just growing up. I mean, he was just always there, and he always had some crazy or fun thing to do. And he was just a great person. And when he passed away, for me, you know, I guess. You know, growing up, he was very, very masculine, manly man. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And he grew up in a different time. You know, where you know, getting drunk and fighting with your buddies was cool. You know, he was but he was a very masculine, manly man. And then as he got older, which we're all going to get older, and he got sick and started having dialysis and got to where, you know, like, you know, he lost a lot of weight, was real frail and stuff. It was really, really difficult for me to see that, because I had this image in my head of him that was, you know, it wasn't sick and frail and needing help, you know, to get up, you know, and needing help to get out of bed in the morning. And it was really difficult for me going through that and seeing that, even though I wasn't there every day. And it was really difficult, you know, seeing my mom and my aunt, my grandma go through that, you know. And when he passed away, I think I was in denial about it for a little while.
Yeah.
And because I really just didn't, you know, it was like I couldn't really process that he wasn't there. And that was one of the first major deaths, I guess, in my life, you know, that that really made me that was the first person that I'd ever had die that was close to me. And I mean, I was in my 20s when this happened. I was in my late 20s when this happened, you know. So lots of people that I grew up with and stuff, and I'm friends with, you know, they lost their grandparents, you know, some of them when they were, you know, under the age of 10. I was fortunate enough to have mine that be in my 20s. But that was probably one of the first events that happened where I truly looked back and I was like, you know, I was grateful for the time I spent with him, but also it made me see things in my life that maybe I wasn't really happy with, and
Mm-hmm.
things that I really wanted to change, and things that I wanted to do, because, we're only here for a short time,
Yeah.
like we were talking about winners, fortunately, life is short, and we're not going to have that many winners, hopefully we're not going to have that many winners. I'm not saying that I want us all to die young, but, but that also means we're not going to have that many springs, right? We're not going to have that many good times that things are really, really good. So, one of the things I learned from that is that we need to take advantage of those really good times, and we need to look for the opportunities. But, I lost him, and then I lost my grandparents on my dad's side. I ended up losing them within the next couple of years. My granddad was my granddad was a preacher for my entire life. He was a Southern Baptist preacher, and he was one of the more positive preachers. I don't want to say he was like a Joel Osteen, because that's some people don't really like Joel that much, but I like Joel. Is he's real positive. He's always got a great positive message.
Mm-hmm.
My granddad, even though he's an older Southern Baptist preacher, typically the message that he had was very positive and very uplifting, rather than fire and brimstone and we're all going to hell, and that sort of thing. I don't know if you're religious or anything, but
so I agree that it's not about that, because you can't say that God is love, and that He wants you to go through those kinds of experiences. But getting back,
but having my granddad pass away made me really thankful for times I had. Then I lost my grandma and my granddad fairly soon after that, and there again, those are people that have been there my whole life that I just didn't believe were going to go away. So it's made me or taught me is to really appreciate what we have, and the time that we have, and the people that we have here, because they're not everybody's going to be here long. You know what I mean? So so that's probably the biggest experience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that kind of, it was around that time I got introduced to Tony Robbins, and Personal Power 2 was the first program I really ever done. And I tell people that I got introduced to that by a friend of mine. He told me that Tony Robbins changed his life, and this was a guy who's a pretty successful business guy, and he kept telling me about Tony Robbins and stuff. And I mean, at the time, I'd never really, I'd listened to Zig Ziglar, and I'd heard of Jim Rohn, and everybody knows about Chicken Soup for the Soul and things like that. But I'd never really personally worked on self-help, because honestly, I didn't really feel like I needed help,
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are there. They feel like, hey, I don't need nothing. I'm good, But working through the exercises that are in Personal Power 2 were life changing. I've done Personal Power 2 4 times, like done it all the way through 4 times, right? And every time I went through that, I feel like it's been life changing. Like, I've changed the way that I've done business. It's been a big breakthrough for me. It's helped me set new goals and things that I wanted to do that I wouldn't have done if I had not gone through those exercises. So that's kind of the things that I guess have changed my life the most and made me thankful for what I've got, what I've done.
Yeah, and what I'm also really curious about, if you have a message for your younger self, like before you got to be grateful, and before you got to enjoy life with a grateful heart, like what would you tell your younger self, your younger Jason?
I mean, don't worry so much. Everything's going to be fine, and that's the thing. A lot of us don't understand that like we talked about the winters and the summers and the spring and all that stuff. Things aren't going to last forever, and don't worry about it. Most of the problems that we have are going to be very temporary.
Yeah, this is great advice, and I think that the younger people listening can find this really, really wise and really, really useful, and it's a good reminder for when things are are coming up that they're not going to be there forever.
Yeah, that's right. It's not going to last forever. Yeah, there's this thing that I've been reading. I read a lot. One of the books I've been reading right now is the 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss.
Yeah.
And one of the things he talks about when he talked about, the first time he was going to travel the world and work abroad and things like that, he talked about if he had a problem, he was talking about rating things on a scale from 1 to 10. And one of the things he mentioned was if you went and done this experience, on a scale from 1 to 10, how life-changing was it going to be? 1, not very life-changing, like probably the equivalent of us, going out, going and getting, chicken nuggets from McDonald's, or number 10 being extremely life-changing and being something that's going to affect his life forever. And then if he went and he done something and there was a problem on a scale from 1 to 10, how small or great could that problem be? Is it going to be something he's going to have to live with forever? Like, hey, you lost an arm, or was it going to be something very minor, like, just a speed bump in life,
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of us, when we look at our problems, sometimes we think things are going to be a 10, but in reality, they're more like maybe a 2,
Yeah.
and that's something, for a younger audience, especially on a scale from 1 to 10, if you're going through that problem and you have that problem, really how life-changing is it? Really, I think when we're 15 lots of times, our problem is, our girlfriend broke up with us or our boyfriend broke up with us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the thing is, we're gonna find another girlfriend. We're gonna find another boyfriend or whatever it is. You got cut from the football team. Football, dude, it's only gonna last 3 or 4 years anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that are much, much greater than football. So I think it's hard for us to see on that scale from 1 to 10, but lots of times, especially for the younger audience, our problem we think is a 10 is really a 2,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, and usually life is much longer than that and much longer than just this small period in time. But we see it differently at different ages. But getting back to gratitude, to the things that you do constantly that help you be and to stay grateful. Do you have some practices like these?
Man, I'm a big believer in setting up a routine. I'm a big believer in setting up your day so that you start your day in state. And by state, I mean that you start it with a certain mindset, and for me, like, it's basically, I do the same thing every morning, and when I get up in the morning, I'm just like ready to go. And a lot of the reason is because I put myself in a position, I put myself in the mindset that that good things are going to happen today. One of the things that I do a lot is I listen to affirmations.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and affirmations, they're truly magical. And like we talked about earlier, man, at 26, I thought it was like mumbo jumbo that was just stupid, and I didn't need to do that. I thought about the Saturday Night Live skit with Stuart Smalley. I don't know if you ever seen that on Saturday Night Live, but it was this guy, and he'd basically sit in front of a window, or he'd sit in front of a mirror, and he'd say, I'm a great person, I'm a good person. And they're actually hilarious. I'm sure they're on YouTube somewhere, but I would think about this Saturday Night Live skit that they used to do. But truly, like today, after I learned what they were and I tried it, and I started listening to them like, I've got a handful of them saved on YouTube that are, like 3 to 5 minutes. That lots of times I'll listen to. I've got one I like to listen to on the way to the office. It's about abundance.
Mm-hmm.
And when you start doing these affirmations, it activates your your RAS.
Yeah.
So what you start
system,
noticing is you start noticing the good things in your life. If you're doing something on abundance and gratitude, and you're doing affirmations surrounding abundance and gratitude, then you're going to start noticing things that are in abundance. You're going to start noticing things that you are grateful for. And it works for everything. It's that whole reticular activating system, your RAS. It's the thing in your mind. For you guys listening that don't know, it's where, like, say you go out here and you go and you test drive a red Mercedes, and you absolutely love that red Mercedes, but maybe you don't have the money to buy it. Before you test drove it, you felt like you never seen this car ever, that you felt like it was unique and special. Then after you test drove it, it's like, man, you see one every day. You feel like everybody's got one except for you. But that's the thing in your brain that weeds out all the stuff that's unimportant. And when you're doing these affirmations make your mind center in that these certain things are important to you, right? So if you want to be more grateful, you're going to start seeing things that you're more grateful about. Like if you're a real estate agent and you start saying, that you're a great for sale by owner listing agent, right? Or you start telling yourself this every morning, all of a sudden you're going to start seeing more for sale by owner signs. You're going to start noticing more opportunities for sale by owners on Craigslist, Facebook, things like that. But it works in every area of your life, not really just gratitude. If you some people do them about money. I don't know how that works. I've never done them about money. Typically mine are about the ones that I typically do are more about abundance, more about gratitude and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. This is wonderful advice. I think we have this opportunity of seeing things that we like, that we focus on, and this is really good that we can start the day in this way. And like if we start with something negative, the tendency is to do the same, like you said, with the red Mercedes. We tend to see all the negatives. When we start with the positives, with the gratitudes, we can see the gratitude everywhere around. So we're nearing the end of our time together, and I wanted to ask you if you have some people that you want to mention that you're really grateful for.
Man, I'm grateful for Laura. That's my girlfriend. I'm grateful for our little baby Parker. I'm grateful for my parents. I'm grateful for my grandparents. I'm grateful for my grandma still living. Man, I've got a lot of agents across the country that have been a fantastic support system for me that I'm really, really grateful for. That I talk to all the time. I got a lot of great friends I'm really grateful for, and sometimes like I forget that I truly have a lot of friends, and I think we all forget that. But man, I mean, there's so many that I could just keep listing.
Yeah,
I could keep going on and listing. I'm grateful for a lot of the authors out there that have read books that have really impacted my life. Man, I'm grateful for you letting me be on this podcast this morning.
Sure.
Yeah, this has been great.
Awesome. So, where can people find you? Where can our audience see your work?
Man, my books are on Amazon. If you go to jasonmorrisgroup.com, there's a lot of stuff on there. I've got a YouTube channel, this Jason Morris Group. I got a Facebook group, Real Estate Agents That Really Work, and Facebook's probably the easiest place to find me.
Mm-hmm. Good. Awesome. So thank you so much for being here with us and for sharing your experience and your wisdom. It has been awesome. Thank you.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Hey, Gratitude Seeker. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this interview. I really appreciate it. And if you could think of one person that would also benefit from it, share it with them. It might actually be the inspiration that they need to make their day or maybe even their life much better. Thank you so much once again. This has been Georgian Benta. Don't forget to keep seeking and spreading gratitude.
If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.